Dear brothers and sisters, as we gather here on this Sunday afternoon, I know many of you have journeyed here from very far off places. So some of you flew here, others drove, and maybe a few who live around here maybe walked. Over the years, when we have to go to the destination, we've always found ways of getting there. In the beginning, many moons ago, people used to just walk. They had no other means of getting from one place to another. And then they started using the animals, horses, to be able to take them from one place to another. And then with time came other modes of transportation. With the carriage, more people could travel together. And then we had other means, whether they were cars or trains and then aeroplanes. And that was a means by which we could get from one place to another. And so as we look back at history, and as we think about how things have progressed, those of us who spend a lot of time in this country, when we started having the cars and we had to go from one place to another, and the roads were new, so we always had maps. And generally, before we went someplace, we had to go visit a friend or go to a shopping center or go any place, we would open our maps up, we could chart out the path that we were going to take. And as roads got better, we could go from one city to another. And so we had all those charts, and before you went there, you opened all the big charts. And you lined out, are you going to take like a highway? Are you going to pay tolls on the way? Are you going to take the inside road? So you charted out your path, and you followed the route, and you could get to your destination. And many times, since we were doing that all on our own, we would get lost. Then a few years ago, maybe 15, 20 years ago, maybe 15 years, came the GPS systems. Okay. So now, if we have to go someplace, you sit in the car or now on your phones even, whether you use Google Maps or MapQuest, or there's so many of those things. And you put in an address, and it's very interesting. Then they guide you. When it's not only that, they ask you, do you want to go to the shortest route? Do you want to go to the fastest route? Do you want to go to the route which you have to pay tolls on, right? So you can pick up. And most people pick up the fastest way to get there. And so, as we all think about the spiritual journey, the journey of a soul to God, we need to figure out what is the fastest way of getting there. Yeah? Sant Rajinder Singh Maharaj, who's written much about the spiritual path. So in 2 lines of one of his verses, he explains to us what is the fastest way of getting to God. And he says, Rahe ishq ki intaha chahta hu, junun sa koi rehnuma chahta hu. He's telling us that I want to reach the highest level on the path of love. Because the realization that to know God is to love God, that the way back to God is through love, this has been in the sayings of many saints. When we read our scriptures too, most of our scriptures telling us those who love God are the ones who find God. So Sant Rajinder Singh Ji Maharaj is saying that I know there is a path of love which is going to take me to God. So he says, I want to reach the highest level on that path of love. And the highest level on the path of love is God. So he's saying like, Rahe ishq ki intaha chahta hu. It's my desire that I reach this highest level, which is the highest level for a soul is to be with God, to merge in God, to be one with God. And then he says, how do you reach there? Junu sa koi rahnuma chahta hu. So he says, I want as my guide the madness of love. The word Janu is a very interesting word. It doesn't have a very word-to-word kind of meaning in the English language. So the word madness of love is used. But in the East, the connotations are not negative. It's had a positive connotation. In the East, the word Janu is like fulfillment of love, like intensity of love. And so the word madness sometimes goes with like some instability. Because we say, hey, this person's mad, you think maybe they're unstable. And so when you use the word madness of love, you might have a connotation of something not being like very stable. But in the East, the word Janu, which is used, Janu sa koi rahnuma chahta hu. Janu means like totally in love, or one who is like focused on love, intensely in love. So Sant Rajinder Singh Ji Maharaj is telling us that on the way to reach God, which is the highest level that we want to reach, the guidance that we need is the intensity of love. That there needs to be that intensity of love, and then we will be able to reach our goals. So I'd like to relate an interesting story. This is about a queen. So there was this queen who was running her queendom. She's running the queendom, and she's trying to make people happy. So then to make people happy, you have to sacrifice, right? So she's trying to make everyone happy, and so people come, she's opened herself up, people can come with problems to her, she's trying to solve them. And after a while, it gets very taxing. She's getting stressed out. We think we only have stress these days. The queens also had stress. So she was stressed out. So when she stressed out, she called all her ministers, said, I'm so stressed out, I don't know what to do. I have so many problems to deal with. I want to help everyone, but it's like taking a toll on me. So one of the chief ministers was very smart, said, you should meditate. It's going to help you, your stress is going to go away. I said, okay. So what is the best time to meditate? They said 3 to 6 a.m. She said, okay. So she gets up and she's ready to meditate at 3 o'clock. And she's sitting and she's trying to meditate, and she can't meditate. And one day goes by, another day goes by, another day goes by. And she's finding that there's some noise coming in the palace, because she has many gardens in the palace. And in the way the palace setup is in the middle, and there's garden all around. And generally these are the times when they didn't have air conditioning. So you had to keep your windows open at night when you go to sleep. And so all kinds of sounds are coming. And so she calls the minister. She says, I want to meditate, but I can't meditate. So can you tell me, where are all these sounds coming from? She said, it looks like, somewhere from the garden some sounds are coming at night, and I don't know where they're coming. So it's difficult for me to concentrate or meditate, because I'm just distracted by these sounds. So the minister says, okay. They make a committee, all people make a committee. And the committee says, okay, let's get an expert on birds. Because there must be birds in the garden. Who else can make noise? Maybe these birds are getting up very early, maybe they're having parties at night, God knows what they're doing. Like a big racket they're creating. So they start to check, this committee is checking with the bird expert, and they find that there are owls in there. And so the people ask the bird expert, what are these owls doing? And they said, oh, look at these owls, and look at their eyes. They said, the eyes look so big. He says, yeah, the ratio of their eyes to the head if we would compare to the human being, our eyes would be like tennis balls. They got big eyes. And so when you look at their eyes don't move in the socket. So what they have to do is they have to move their whole head, look back, because our eyes can move and we can look here, just sitting here, look like that. They can't, they have to go all the way, this and that. So that creates some time. And so what are they doing? Say, look at their ears. Their ears are not symmetrical like ours, their ears are like little at a different angle. And so the people are, why are their ears at a different angle? He said, they can hear more sounds than we can. So they say, what are these sounds that they're doing? So they say, they are very scientific. So they're looking for food at that time because it's the early breakfast at 3 o'clock in the morning. They want to start the day well with a good breakfast because if you eat well, your day is going to be well. Okay? They're looking for food. So what they are doing is that they are sending sounds, and this is the sound that they send. Like a whooping sound they send out. And when it hits the food, when it comes back, their ears here, and they know the food is here. Let me go there and get it. So they say that they are sending sounds so they can find the food, so they can feed the physical body. Their total attention is on getting food. That's why between 3 and 6 a.m., they're just looking for food. Because they know that when the light will come out, they won't be able to see that much. So they're making a lot of racket at that time. They're sending sounds, finding out, oh, if there's some food here, let's say there's an apple which has fallen down, or something else has fallen down, or something's there, that the sound will reflect and come back, and they're so trained they can figure out the food is there, and so they go and get it. So they're sending sounds here, sounds there, sounds there. Says, okay. Okay, what other birds are here? They're the nightingales. So what are the nightingales doing? Well, they are singing very sweetly. They get up in the morning, they're praying to God, they're very happy, God, we're alive in the morning. They want companionship, they're looking for mates. So they're sending sweet sounds. The sweeter the sound, the more they can attract other nightingales to come to them. So they're singing at that time. And because they're singing, because these are like social birds. They want to be together. They want to have companionship. So all of their attention is into getting all the other nightingales together so that they can be together, and that's why there are sounds at that time. So it's okay, what other birds are there? They say, there are sparrows out here. So what are the sparrows doing? The sparrows are those kind of birds who like to travel. They like to explore. So they don't stay in a place. They get together in one place, they explore it, they find out everything, then they go to another place. As they're traveling, they want to check things out. They're the intellectual kind of birds. And they're checking things out. And so the palace has so much lights in there, so as they're passing by, they see the lights of the palace. They want to come in, they want to see, what is this which is so beautiful out here? But when they come there, they don't realize there's a glass there, and they hit in the glass, and they go, thud. And then they cry to the other people, come help me, man, I fall down. And so that's where they're creating trouble. So now the committee comes back, they have these 3 birds that they found in the garden, they come to the queen, and they tell the queen that we found that there are owls there. They told her what the owls doing. They said that the nightingales are there who are singing, the owls are there who are looking for food, and there's the sparrows who want to explore things. They're the intellectual type, and so they're so focused on their areas that's all they can focus on. So they're trying to do their very best the owls are trying to make sure they get food for the body. The nightingales are trying to be emotionally stable, so they're trying to make sure all the mates are with them. The sparrows are searching and exploring, and this is why they don't know what happens until they hit each other, or they hit kind of a glass wall or something, and that's where the sounds are coming. So the queen said, isn't there a bird who's quiet? So they start to think. So the queen says, maybe there's some bird who's quiet, then we can send these birds out and put the quiet birds in there. So they say, okay, let's go find some more birds. We only found this. So now they're scratching their head, they're searching. So they get this expert on birds again, and they go in at night, and it happens to be a full moon night. So as they go in, they're searching, so they find one bird sitting on the top of a tree. And they find this bird is quiet, it's not making any noise. And they find this bird is looking at the moon. And so they're watching what is happening. And so as the moon is moving, the bird is looking at the moon and moving, like that. And it's not making any noise, it's not looking for food, it's not drinking, it's not communicating with anyone, it's just still. And the morning comes up and say, whoa, yeah, this is the bird we got. What is this bird? They asked the bird expert. And the bird said, this is the chakor bird. So what does the chakor bird, what is it doing all night? They said, oh, it's looking at the moon. Why is it looking at the moon? It's in love with the moon. What do you mean it's in love with the moon? They said, no, it's in love with the moon. And so, because it's so much in love with the moon, it does not want to take eyes away from the moon. So it's just watching the moon. So if the moon is going like this, going like that, like that, like that, it doesn't even worry if its neck is going to break. It just keeps on watching it. Because those of you who've been loved, you know that you want to be with your beloved. You don't want to be away even for a second from your beloved, because that's what gives us happiness when we are in love. And so the chakor bird, which is in love with the moon, always wants its attention on the moon. It doesn't want its attention to be distracted with anything else. And so the next day, they all come back to the queen. And they say, we found a bird which is quiet. So she says, who is this bird? So they tell her about the chakor bird. And they say, it's so quiet, there's nothing disturbs it. It just keeps on looking at the moon all night. And so should we remove all the birds from the garden and just let the chakor bird be there? So in the beginning, the queen first thinks, yeah, that'll be a good idea, because then there won't be any noise. But then in a couple of moments she starts to think. She said, no, leave all the birds there. I think I've learned my lesson from the chakor bird. If the chakor bird can be quiet with all these birds making a noise there, then I should be able to quieten myself too, even in that environment. So the reason I'm telling you this story is that we all have many distractions. Okay? We live in this world. Our path of science and spirituality is telling us about positive mysticism. It's not telling us about negating life. It's not telling us, oh, go and live in a cave in a mountain someplace, or go to the banks of a river and there's no distraction. It's telling us, oh, we live in our societies. We live in our homes. We have distractions. We have family, we have friends, we have other obligations to our society. So these are all distractions. So our path is saying even in those distractions, we can focus on our spiritual journey. And just like the chakor bird, which is focused on the moon, if our attention is on God, then as we live in the world, we'll be able to reach our goals. So there's this saying in Punjabi, Hath karwal, dil yarwal. That means our hands to our work, but our hearts to our beloved. So while living in the world, by discharging all our responsibilities, we can be focused on God. And so we need to think ourselves, are we like the owl? Do we want to just make sure that our physical body is well nourished, well fed, well taken care of? Are we like the nightingale, that we make sure our relationships are good, we want to have a community, we want our emotions to be nourished? Or are we like the sparrows that want to explore? They want to discover this, we want to travel here, we want to travel there. And traveling today could be also on the net. We want to find out about this, find out about that, and know more about the environment which we are? Or are we like the chakor bird who is in love with God? Those who love are the ones who find God. And so we need to be in that state where we can experience the love of God. And the love of God can be experienced as we meditate. By listening to something, by reading something, you're not going to experience love. You can read about it, you can get an inkling of where to go, but unless you experience the spark of love within yourself, you are not going to realize love. So the key is to be able to experience that love. And that happens as we meditate, as we sit in silence. And so each and every one of us, irrespective of whatever environment we are in, irrespective of where we live, irrespective of whatever our relationships are in, whatever communities, whatever faiths we are in, whatever part of the world we are from, whatever our cultures are like, we all can experience the joys when we experience the love of God. And so that love of God is not to be found anywhere on the world outside, it's to be found within ourselves, because God is with each and every one of us. So let us just meditate for a few minutes and experience the love of God within ourselves. Please sit as comfortably as you can. Just close your eyes very gently, just like you close them when you go to sleep. Your eyeballs should be straight, focus 8 to 10 inches in front of you. And as you close your eyes, those of you who have been initiated in the mysteries of the beyond, please do your Simran. And those of you who are new here, please repeat any name of God that you feel comfortable with. This repetition of God's name should be done mentally and not out loud. I pray to God Almighty and to the three great spiritual masters of the past century, Hazur Baba Savan Singh Ji Maharaj, Param Sant Kapal Singh Ji Maharaj, and Dayal Purush Sant Darshan Singh Ji Maharaj, to help each and every one of us connect with the divine power within and to experience the divine light of God in His effulgence. I will be sitting for a few minutes. I'll be getting out of this meditative state at that time, and my best wishes are with each and every one of you. Please leave off. Please leave.